Hello and welcome. In this session, we are going to see how to migrate your PostgreSQL database from on-premises to PostgreSQL managed instance in Azure. So here is a draft of how we are going to perform this migration. So we have a virtual machine which is on premises and PostgreSQL is installed on it. And on this virtual machine, we have the DVD rental database available, and this database has to be migrated onto Azure PostgreSQL single server, and we are going to use an intermediate virtual machine which is deployed in Azure, and PostgreSQL is installed on that. The reason is we wanted to use the pg underscore restore utility from the Azure virtual machine which is available, and using this machine we will communicate with the target PostgreSQL instance and we will perform the restore. So as usual, everything is available there in a notepad, and what we are going to do is we are going to perform the restoration using the command line utility which is called as pg underscore restore. So you have something called as pg underscore dump, which is used to take the backup of your PostgreSQL database. But for restoration, you have two utilities available by default in your Postgre installation. So you have something called as psql and another is which is called as pg underscore restore. So what makes us to distinguish like whether we should go for psql or pg underscore restore? And you have taken the backup using pg underscore dump. If you have taken the backup of your PGSQL used in the SQL format, then for restoration you can use the PSQL. But if you have backed up your PostgreSQL in a custom format or in a directory format, then you can use pg underscore restore. Custom and directory backup formats can only be restored by pg underscore restore, and they have better features as compared to the plain SQL backup dumps which has been taken using pg underscore dump way. One of the other important feature of pg underscore restore is you can restore the particular table or the schema, and you can also choose whether you wanted to include any schema, you wanted to include only data, or you wanted to restore both. So there are a lot of options which are available in pg underscore restore when you dump your PostgreSQL data using the custom format or the directory format. And you cannot convert your SQL format to the other format which can be restored through the pg underscore restore. So for this migration, what we are going to do is we are going to use pg underscore utility, which will be used to extract a PostgreSQL database as a dump file. So I'll show you how our setup looks like. For simulation purpose, we have created two virtual machine. The name of one first virtual machine is on premises pg12. So if you see this, we have this public IP, and if you log into that, so if you log into that, you will be able to see that there is a database which is called as DVD rental, and this database which is present on our on premises that has to be migrated to the PostgreSQL managed instance, and we are going to migrate this. Our assumption is this database size is quite large, and we are going to use pg underscore restore, and because of the size we wanted to make sure that once the backup is completed it is transferred to a virtual machine which is in the same region where our Postgre virtual or this single server is available. So just for an assumption the virtual machine. Okay, let me show it a little bit back. This is my own premises virtual machine, just for an assumption, though this is deployed in the Azure, but this is our assumption. And we deployed a virtual machine wherein Postgre binaries are installed. This is in the same region where we have created a PostgreSQL single server wherein Postgre 11 is deployed, and this virtual machine and single server Postgre, they are deployed in the same region. So let's quickly take a backup from the single server. So what we are going to do is we are going to take a backup in this way. This is a standalone, what do you say, the on-premises environment, wherein we have something called as DVD rental database is available, and if we simply fire pg underscore dump hyphen capital FC hyphen V hyphen host. This is our what do you say, the on-premises environment. I'll show you the host name. It should have been, replace it with the host name of the on-premises host. So the host name of on-premises host is on-premise PG12. So if you just press enter, you will be able to prompt for the Postgre password, and the database is dumped. It has been dumped, and then what we need to do is we need to transfer this dump to a machine, which is a virtual machine, which is there in the Azure. So what we will do is we will scp this dump, and the location and name of the dump is this, and we are going to transfer it to what do you say, the Postgre, or let me, so it is available over here. So what we will do is we will transfer this dump, DVD rental dump, from on-premises environment to the Azure underscore user, and we need to mention the host name of uh, the Azure machine. So we'll take the public IP. This is the public IP, and the location where you wanted to transfer it. We will feed in the password. Okay, so chmod, let me put it as cd/tmp, and although I could have done it using the simpler way, but I'm just doing it chmod. I think I already have it over there. Azure underscore user at this is the target, and let me see. I should have it already copied over here. cd/tmp. This is my virtual machine in Azure. Okay, I already have it. DVD rental dot dmp. So I'm not going to resolve this permission issue. So I'm going to the next step. Assuming that I have already transferred it, which I have transferred it just a few minutes back. And then what we are going to do is um, we have already created a Azure database for PostgreSQL single instance. This is the single instance. And if you see the connection settings, you will be able to see the host name is this one, and your username, wherein I created a user called as Postgre, but the username will be associated with the host name. So when we have to test whether the connectivity is there from the Azure machine or not, you need to make sure that you enable the access. So when I say the enable the access, so I mean to say there is something called as connection security. In the connection security, what I am saying is allow access to Azure services. So anything which is there inside the Azure service, I'm saying enable that access. So this particular virtual machine is inside the Azure environment, and the PostgreSQL managed instance we created, that's also there in the environment. And what we need to make sure that the firewall security rules are properly enabled for port number 5432, because you will not have the access to the operating system in a managed instance. And what we have to make sure that the pg underscore hba.conf should have the IP address of the managed instance, just to make sure that when you try the connection you should be able to do so. Let me do it this way. If we have to try the connection, if we are able to connect from using the PSQL from the virtual machine which is there in the Azure, we have to say PSQL hyphen hyphen host. This is the host name of the PostgreSQL single server, which is a managed instance. This is the port number. This is the username which you can find from the connection info, and this is the database name which I'm trying to access. If everything is fine, it will prompt you for the password. And most important part of this is, if you say simply say /l, it will show you. So I have already imported it, so I'm going to drop it. Drop database DVD rental. So once it is dropped, we will try to import it again. So what is most important over here is you need to make sure that pg underscore hba.conf file is properly configured. So I'll show you what you should be checking it over there. Okay, the database is dropped, there is nothing now, and I have a connection already established. Okay, okay, SSL mode should be on. Okay, the database has been dropped now, and now what you need to check is, when you check your pg underscore hba.conf, if you go to the bottom, you need to make sure that the access to the particular database where you are trying to access through the user, it should be available over there. If it is not, it is going to give you the error. Host, I wanted to say for the Postgre database, this particular uh, user should be able to log in from here. This is the IP address of your PostgreSQL managed instance, which is single server. And here now we will try the import. And if you try this command, okay, this is the command psql hyphen hyphen host. This is the remote host where PostgreSQL single server is deployed. This is the port number. This is the username. The username is attached with the host name hyphen hyphen database name where you wanted to access, and SSL mode should be required. Otherwise, it will give you the error. If you remove this, I'm not sure if I have set the environment variable. I think it is environment variable is already set. If you do not set that, it is going to give you this particular error. It is going to give you the error connecting to the database for restore. It has failed. One error it is going to give you, the entry of the managed instance should be there in the pg_hba.conf in your Azure virtual machine, which is an intermediate server where you have transferred the backup dump, and from there you wanted to restore it. You wanted to make sure that the dump which is available should be restored in a faster way. And for doing that, we are using pg_restore, which is a better option. Sorry. So we are going to use this command, which says psql hyphen hyphen host, remote host name of the managed instance, port number, username, db name, and the SSL mode equal to require. So let me copy and paste from here. SSL mode. Okay, I had it over here. SSL mode. Okay, it should be this one. SSL mode. SSL mode. Oops, where did I keep it? Okay, shift and all right. It should be the command SSL mode. Oops, where is it? SSL mode equal to require. Okay, SSL mode equal to require. Let me put it on the notepad and this should work. Okay. Yes, this is pg underscore restore. We are saying no owner, host name, and database name is DVD rental SSL mode. Okay. I got the problem. SSL mode equal to require. Too many arguments. Where it is? Okay, username is this, DB name is DVD rental, and SSL mode. We will take it out because we have already exported it. Okay, this is happening now. DVD rental does not exist, so what we will do is we will create a blank database now. I had copied it twice, that's why it is not taking it. Okay, so this is my managed instance. There is no DVD rental database, so I'm going to create it, a blank database, create database DVD rental. And once the database is created, we will test it like the database exists. Yes, you can say that the empty database exists. Now quit out of this and now try the pg underscore restore. So the intermediate virtual machine where I have pg underscore restore utility, that means a PostgreSQL binary is already installed. From there, we are going to execute pg underscore restore, and it is importing the data into PostgreSQL managed instance. So you can see the restore is going on. The important part is the SSL mode, which you need to turn on for the managed instance. And we mentioned something called as no owner parameter, which causes all the object created during the restore to be owned by the specific user, which we have mentioned over here. So we mentioned the hyphen hyphen username. The hyphen hyphen username is this, so it is going to be the owner. So few of the things which we need to uh, make sure over here on Azure database for PostgreSQL server. So you have the TLS and SSL connections are on by default. So if your PostgreSQL server requires TLS or SSL connection, you have to make sure that you import PGG, PG SSL mode on equal to require. Otherwise, it is going to give you this particular error. And the error is, where is the error? Okay, here. The SSL connection is required. Please specify SSL option and retry. You have to make sure that you turn it on, or in the pg underscore restore, you mention that SSL mode on equal to require, so that it will be going through. And how to optimize the migration process. So one of the ways to migrate your existing Postgre database to Azure database for PostgreSQL single server by backing up your database on the source and restore it on the Azure, what you need to do is to minimize the downtime which is required for the migration. What we need to do is we need to make sure that we use some of the switches during the backup only. So -fc. So once you use that, we can parallel the restore. So if you have more number of CPUs on the restore side, you can increase the number of parallelism because it is directly going to fetch the CPU power. And you have to make sure that you increase the number of parallelism depending upon the CPUs which are there. In this case there was only just two CPUs, so we cannot. Otherwise, what you have to do is you have to say pg underscore restore hyphen h. This will be the host name of your target managed instance. Hyphen u is the username of the target environment. Hyphen fc. Hyphen j is the parallelism. How many parallel channels or power you wanted to give to your import using the pg underscore restore. So you can mention it over there. We are not talking about the flexible server, only about the single server. And few of the things which we need to make sure for the PostgreSQL managed instance, that during the migration we need to turn off pg underscore stat underscore stat statements. You need to turn off pg underscore qs dot query capture mode, and you need to turn off pgms underscore wait underscore sampling dot query capture mode to none. And you can use a high compute and high memory SKU if your migration allows that because of the criticality. And you can scale down these once your restoration is completed. If let's say your database size is 500 GB and you are using pg underscore dump and pg underscore restore, in that case you should use the parallelism on a virtual machine in which is an intermediate server, and from there you can fire the pg underscore restore in a parallel mode, and these settings can be turned off in your target managed instance. And if you're talking about the IOPS, which is going to surely and to a great extent improve your restoration speed, but you cannot simply turn off the IOPS. For that, again, uh, you need to make sure that you test it properly. Otherwise, you have to again do a backup and restore. So just a recap of what we have done. We saw that there are two ways of taking the restoration into your PostgreSQL. One is using the PSQL, which is the standard format. Another is PG underscore restore format, wherein if you have taken the backup using the custom format or using the directory format, then only you can use pg underscore restore, which is a preferred mode wherein you can increase the speed by increasing the number of parallelism, and during the restore you have a capability of restoring the particular table. You can restore the data only, restore the schema only. So there are a lot of options which are available during the pg underscore restore way. In our demo, what we did is we have an on-premises PostgreSQL instance. We took a backup from this particular machine, which is on-premises. We transferred it using SCP to the PostgreSQL virtual machine on Azure. And from there, wherein we had created a managed instance. So let me show you the managed instance. So this is the managed instance which we created a few minutes back, not during this demo, but before that. This is the host name of that server, wherein you do not have the access to the operating system, but you have the access on the port number 543, to which we had opened the firewall rule. So firewall rule is very important when you work in this kind of setup. That's the only point of failures. And when you are working on the intermediate virtual machine in the Azure region, you make sure that it should be able to communicate with the PostgreSQL single server, and the IP address of that managed instance should be added in the pg_hba.conf. Okay, so we were talking about we used pg underscore dump and pg underscore restore. As a prerequisite, we had an on-premises Postgre SQL virtual machine on the on-premises environment. There, we created a virtual machine in Azure, wherein we can transfer the backup dump from on-premises to Azure virtual machine. And from the Azure virtual machine, we are trying to import the data into PostgreSQL managed instance. We have used pg underscore restore. In our case, this is the data dump size is very low, but in larger environment, you have to use parallelism so that the data can be imported in a faster way. And this is the command which we use to take the backup from the on-premises pg underscore dump hyphen fc switch. We used the host name of the source environment, then the user, then the database, and the dump file. Then this was transferred to the middle server, which is in the Azure VM, and then from there we use the pg underscore restore. So there are a lot of capabilities of pg underscore restore, and one of them is the parallelism. And you need to make sure that you tweak some of the parameters like these one if they are available, and you have to turn them off because they slow down your import speed. So they are pg underscore stat underscore statement, pg underscore qs dot query capture mode, and pg ms underscore wait underscore sampling. So if these are enabled, you ensure them they are turned to none. And also when you are using for the import, you make sure the machine should be having a higher compute and higher SKU, so that if it is a more powerful virtual machine, then your speed of migration will be higher. This is in general like why should we use pg underscore restore, what should be the architecture, and how to speed it up. But there are some more things which we can tweak and ensure that the speed is much faster. I hope this basic overview is